Deadly Class number 19, a comic book all about a school for assassins and weird kind of Europunk rap, different class feels. Outcast number 17, all about demonic possession and why they're attracted to this one guy. This guy. Spider-Gwen does whatever Spider-Man can, except she's Gwen. Guardians of the Galaxy number 6, things are going down. Peter Quill's back in his uniform. Kitty Pryde's still around. Fight Club 2, number 10. I thought this was done because I kind of stopped reading them for a little bit, but apparently it's still going. They're Not Like Us, issue 12. Imagine Professor Xavier without all the philanthropy. X-Men 92, issue 1. Didn't think they were bringing this back, but there it is. You didn't catch on, it's the X-Men from the 92 cartoon show, which is awesome. And finally, all new X-Men number 7, where the creators apparently discovered Japanese pornography. Look at that tentacle. Girls, acne, homework, supervillains. When you're a teenager, it helps to be invincible. Alright, so yet again, one of these videos is late. I can explain that because I had to go away last weekend to pick up my car in Moncton, and for some reason I only like releasing these comic book videos on the weekend. I don't know, that's just how I like doing my upload schedule, so that's why it's late. But as promised today, on top of the actual comic books that you saw at the beginning of the video, we will be doing a comic book series review. What I was originally going to do with these were going to be separate videos called like 1-minute reviews, something like that. Now because I now have the intro that has everything I picked up, there's no way I'm going to be able to keep these within a minute. Maybe sometimes I can, other times I can't, but the idea is that we are getting short and to the point with our reviews. So as you guys can probably already tell, today we are going to be talking about Invincible. From the creator of The Walking Dead comes Invincible, which actually comes before The Walking Dead. But that's besides the point. Invincible tells the story of a teenage boy named Mark Grayson, who we as the reader quickly find out has an alien superhero father. But this story isn't about Invincible's dad, it's about Invincible. Like Spider-Man's Peter Parker, Mark seems to be living the typical teenage life. He goes to school, has a crappy burger joint job, has to deal with girl problems and his nerdy friends. And overall, his life is pretty average. Until one day after work, when going to throw out the trash, he launches it straight into space. Now this was kind of something that was potentially expected by the family, where his mom is human and his dad is Viltrumite, which is the alien species. They kind of expected that there was a chance that Mark might have some powers, but they didn't know to what extent they would be. So again, just like Spider-Man, Mark discovers he has these powers, dons a suit, and starts fighting crime by himself. He eventually comes into contact with another superhero group of teenagers, very much like Young Justice, Teen Titans, all of those good teams, and begins fighting crime around town with them. Some of the notable players on this team are Robot, Rexplode, Duplicate, and Adam Eve. They've clearly got something for pun nicknames. So those are pretty much the basics of what you need to know of the introduction to Invincible. But from there, things obviously span out. It's like 127 issues deep at this point. There's twists, there's heartache, there's bone-crushing gore, there's brutality and carnage, but there's also a lot of heart. And honestly, for something with such a bright and vibrant color palette, they really do a great job reminding you that this isn't your typical teen superhero comic book. You will see limbs being ripped apart. You will see guts spilling out of people's stomachs. And it's gonna be awesome. Speaking of art, while Cory Walker brought the series to life, brought the characters to the page, Ryan Ottley quickly took over in issue 8. Now, Ryan Ottley, in my opinion, did one of the best jobs coming onto a comic book in which he really managed to capture the original likeness that Cory Walker had brought to the comic book, but expanded on it in such a way that it just added more depth to it, in my opinion. Now, there's nothing wrong with Cory Walker, and in fact, he's coming back for a brief stint doing a handful of the issues that are coming up soon. It just went on like a couple-month hiatus after their last major story arc, so I'm kind of excited to see how Cory Walker is faring like 10 years down the road now from when he was first in it, but I'm very excited for Ryan Ottley to come back. Ryan Ottley does some really amazing things. I'm just gonna show you on screen right here. Just look at all this. Look at all that. This is Totoro. Look at that. Look at it. One of the amazing things about this series is that because it is a creator-owned proprietary under Image Comics, it has largely been the same creative team the entire time, other than that quick switch over between Cory and Ryan. But it's always just really nice to have one single creator writing something from start to finish. Whenever Invincible inevitably ends, I will know in my heart that Robert Kirkman will have been involved in every single issue from start to finish, which is saying a lot in today's comic book age. But obviously I don't want to get into too many details. Some of the things that I could tell you about where the story progresses would be major spoilers, but just know that there are awesome characters like Battle Beast, Alan the One-Eyed Alien. And on top of the amazing characters, there's obviously tons of amazing stories. I can't really think of any story arc that I've really strongly disliked in Invincible. Obviously, at some points, it'll lose a little bit of steam and then have to build up again. But you can say that about any comic book, series, movies, anything. You can say that about pretty much anything that has been around for a long period of time. Walking Dead is honestly probably his most successful comic book, obviously because of the show running at the same time, but there are a number of lulls in that series, but it's still great. Overall, as a comic, it's very clever, loaded with charm, loaded with that Robert Kirkman goodness that we all know and love. It's extremely self-aware, and the art is just fantastic, in my opinion. I adore the art style, I enjoy the coloring, everything about it just speaks to me. So overall, I would recommend Invincible to anybody who has any penchant for superheroes in the slightest. It's got such a vast and encompassing story that I don't think it excludes people who don't traditionally like superhero comics, but it's also different enough from your traditional superhero story that people who might feel that they've been reading too many superhero stories will probably get a different vibe from this compared to your Supermans, your Batmans, your Spider-Mans, your X-Men, and stuff like that. But at the same time, if those are the types of comics you like, you'll definitely like this, and you'll probably really appreciate that slightly different edge that it offers you as a reader. I'm gonna say that the only people who probably won't like this are anybody who has issues with like strong gore and violence and stuff like that, because some of it does get pretty brutal. I'm not saying that it's one of these things that trumps story with gore. It's perfectly stacked. The two go hand in hand, but if you're the type of person who doesn't like seeing people being brutalized, you might not like this. That's probably about it. This isn't really a kid's comic book, but overall it's a fantastic series. That's gonna be it. Thank you all for watching. Have a great week. But speaking of the art, oh, somebody is looking at me through my window. Stop looking at me, you weird backpack folk.